baker who bakes these amazing rolls. That's a lot of work, guys. Shout out to the bakers. It's fizzy, it's peachy, it's time to eat this onion. This is the cactus blossom. Onions with the spicy ranch. I would come here just for this, just to hang out by myself, do some laptop work. Spicy ranch is insanely delicious. This is so much better than an onion ring because, for one, look at this onion wedge. Onion ring,
Hello?
you gotta fold. You go in, right? Onion wedge, you're going in. You're coming out. Look at that. Perfect ranch consistency. I'm a huge judger of that. This is a rattlesnake bite. It's like a jalapeno popper. Cheddar cheese, a little bit of jalapeno bite, cornmeal crisp. Look at that. Those are fantastic. I really want another one. Those are fire. This is your grilled shrimp appetizer. Clarified butter, toasted bread, squeeze a lemon. Let's go for the shrimp with no toast first. Tastes fresh too. Nice and buttery. I think you should do one of these moves. Make a little taco out of it. There's no reason to even have a salad. Next up, classic tater skin, dude. Heavy cheese, bacon bits, sour cream to dip. You guys like tater skins? I'm not.
House. We're done with you. Okay. Now we all want to study circuits. So where should I start? Chapter 0. Let's download everything. PDF, vamos a abrirlo. PDF, vamos a abrirlo. Let's go on to, and let's study everything. Oh, I need to copy. Chapter 3. No, estimado. Vamos a abrirlo. Chapter 4. This is chapter 8, but I don't think we have seen chapter 8. So let's start with this. I need to wimpy a little bit. A little bit crazy. Okay. Let's start this shit. This chapter 4. I'm gonna get this chapter 0. This chapter 2. This chapter 3. Chapter 4. Okay. I need to listen to something in the background. So, let's start with.
You go, there's no way. I'm already still burning. So hold me close, now baby. I do what I'm told, still learning. To take my chances, to take my time, to keep on dancing, to walk that line, yeah. You got me shifting the paradigm, no longer wishing. You're my lucky strike. Love the way you ride. Look into my eyes, say you're ready to go. $1 million life, yeah. We could roll the dice. Act like you're surprised, but you already know. Oh yeah, got lucky overnight. Jackpot when I got the invite. Let me wrap my arms around you, cause I can't go home without you. And my heart just vibe with you, babe. Wanna go sky high with you, babe. Gotta bring you close to tell you that you're my lucky strike. And I got to tell you, if you didn't know, then I got to tell you that you're my lucky strike. And I got to tell you, if you didn't know, then I got to tell you that you're my lucky strike. Cooler than cold, I'm all in. So load up the dice. So heavy, the way that you roll, I'm falling. So I never fall, I'm ready to take my chances, to take my time, to keep on dancing, to walk that line, yeah. You got me shifting the paradigm, no longer wishing. You're my lucky strike, yeah. Love the way you ride. Look into my eyes, say you're ready to go. $1 million life, yeah. We could roll the dice. Act like you're surprised, but you already know. You're my lucky strike, and I got to tell you, if you didn't know, then I got to tell you that you're my lucky strike. And I got to tell you, if you didn't know, then I got to tell you that you're my lucky strike.
I know that you think it's so important to convince everyone else that you're not boring, but it's making me feel like my skin is crawling. I keep pouring out my empathy to someone I don't even see eye to eye with. I don't mind if you don't have it all together. Yeah, I get it, we're all human, but I give you an inch and you take miles. It's tragic, ruining my sanity with tales of animosity. I'd rather cry than let you drive me crazy, lose my mind, and I swear I might die if I cared more. But you're not worth the time. You never put me up front, cause it's your spotlight. I'm in the backseat of my own car. I'd rather cry than let you drive me crazy one more night. Climbing up somebody else's ladder just to make yourself feel just a little bigger. I don't know if I've seen anything that's sadder. It's so hard to comprehend how you don't even understand. Stepping on me without even trying. Never seen somebody get so good at lying. It's impressive you don't spend all your time crying over all the ways you let me down. So many I could drown, but I'd rather cry than let you drive me crazy, lose my mind, and I swear I might die if I cared more. But you're not worth the time. You never put me up front, cause it's your spotlight. I'm in the backseat of my own car. I'd rather cry than let you drive me crazy one more night. Typical emotional, sensitive and cynical. Took my sanity and sent it up the wall. Typical emotional, it's so unoriginal. I gave you the best and you just took it all away.
In this video, we're going to talk about Kirchhoff's current law, abbreviated KCL. So the basic idea behind Kirchhoff's current law is that the total current that flows into a junction must equal the total current that flows out of the junction. So if we assign the current values that flow into a junction, let's say if we make it positive, and the current that leaves the junction negative, then in that case, the sum of all of the individual currents must add up to 0, if we assign it that way. So if we have 10 amps going into the junction and 10 amps coming out, if the positive 10 that's going in, and if we add that to the negative 10 that's going out, it has to add up to 0. Now let's work out a basic example. So here's the junction. Let's say if we have 10 amps of current flowing in this direction, and we have 4 amps of current flowing in that direction. Let's call this I1, and this is going to be I2. Now I1, is it equal to positive 10 amps or negative 10 amps?
Okay, I in is equal to I out, and we have I1 that's equal to 10 amps, and I2
because the current is flowing into the junction, that's in this region, this is going to be positive 10 amps. Now what about the 4 amp current, I2? Is it positive or negative? Now that current is leaving the junction, is moving away from it. So this is going to be equal to negative 4 amps. So now let's come up with an expression that will help us to calculate I3. Now before we do so, take a guess. I3, is it flowing into the junction or is it flowing out of the junction? Now once we calculate I3, if it's equal to a positive value, then we know that the current is flowing into the junction. If I3 is equal to a negative value, that means that the current is flowing out of the junction. So we said that the sum of all the currents must add up to 0. So that means that I1 plus I2 plus I3 is equal to 0. Now I1 is positive 10.
It means that the sum of all the current should be equal to 0. Okay, so that means if I have should be negative 6, the I3. Okay, I'm even gonna write it here.
To the other side, current is flowing away from the junction. It's going in this direction. So notice that the total current that enters the circuit, that's positive 10 amps, that's equal to the total current that leaves the circuit, which is negative 6 plus negative 4, which is negative 10 amps. So everything is balanced. Now let's consider another example. So let's say the current is still 10 amps in this direction, and the current flowing in this branch, let's
10 amps on this direction.
say it's 14 amps. And once again, we're going to call this I1 and I2. So go ahead and calculate I3.
I3, this is negative 14, okay, this is negative 14, this is gotta be positive, so it's gotta be positive 4.
because it's equal to a amps plus 4 amps out of the junction at current junction. Now let's try a harder example. So here's the junction. Let's say we have a current flowing in this direction. Let's say that's 8 amps. And let's call it I1. And let's say we have
8 amps,
a current of 9 amps
I1,
flowing in this direction.
9
And so we'll call that I2. And there's a current of 7 amps. And let's call this I3. So calculate I4. Calculate the
So I'm gonna guess that these two guys, they're all negative. The 8 and the 9. I'm gonna guess the 7 is positive. So we got negative what? We got negative 17 plus 7, that's negative 10. So I'm gonna guess positive 10.
the magnitude. It's like 7 amp current. I3 on is negative 8 into it. Now, the 9 amp current I2 is going towards the junction, so it's flowing in.
Oh, that changed everything. Okay, so we got, I guess that's from it's going towards the middle. Should be. So now we have positive 16 minus 8. So that's 8. So it's gotta be negative 8. There you go. Just even put all that formulas. I1 plus I2 plus I3 plus I4 should be equal to 0. And we have negative 8 plus 9 plus plus 7 plus I4 equal to 0. It's 8 plus I4 equals 0. That means I4 equals to negative 8.
Everything. So the total current that's flowing into the circuit, that's plus 9 and plus 7. So that's a total of 16 amps.
Good.
And the total current that's leaving the circuit, I'm going to highlight that in yellow. That's -8 and -8 here. So that's a current of -16. So the net current that flows in the junction is 0, which is what it's supposed to be. Now, for the sake of practice, let's try one more example. And so here's the junction. So let's say if we have a current of 12 amps flowing in this direction. So let's call that I1. And let's say a current of 8 amps flows away from the junction, so we'll call that I2. In this branch we have I3 and I4. And let's say that we have a current of 20 amps flowing in that direction. Let's call this I5. And let's say that I4 is twice the value of I3 in magnitude. Not necessarily in direction, but in magnitude. It may or may not have the same direction. So with this information, actually, let's assume that it has the same direction. Let's keep it simple. So with this information, go ahead and calculate I3 and I4. So calculate the value of 2 missing.
Okay. Should be easy. Remember, I'm gonna even put all the formula here. I1 plus I2 plus I3 plus I4 plus I5 equals to 0. Okay. So I mean that we have I1 that's positive because it's going towards the thing. I1 that is 12. Actually I might, okay, no, I'm plus minus 8 because it's going off the center. What is this? I3, we don't know I3, so I'm gonna put just I3 plus I4. The I4 it's twice I3, we know that, plus I5 should be equal to 0. Actually we know I5, so it's 20. Okay, so it's 20 plus 12, 32, minus 8, that's 24. So we got 24 plus I3 plus twice I3 should be equal to 0. So that means I3 plus twice I3 should be equal to 0. So I3 plus twice I3 equals to negative 24. So that means I3 equals to I3 plus okay, so 2I3 equals to negative 24 minus I3 divided by 2. That's I3. So I3 equals to negative 12 it's actually negative 12 plus so everything needs to make sense, of course. So let's think about this. So 2I3, that's I4. So it should be like so 2I3 should be like in the same direction, I guess. Okay. So it's 24. 24 plus, if I write everything again, and I have 24 plus 24 equals 48 minus should be negative 48. I mean, it makes sense, I guess. If I have 8, I'm doing some algebra wrong here. +24 plus 24 is 48. So I mean, if I have 12 minus 8 minus 48, that's 56. 56 plus 12, that's 44. 44 plus 24 is 24 plus 20, it's 4. That makes no sense. Okay, it's 12. It's 12 plus twice I3, and I said myself that no, I3 is 12. Okay, I3 is negative 12. Okay, that makes more sense now. Okay, it's I1 is 12. So if I have negative 12, it's 0. And I have 8, negative 8, plus 20, that's negative 12. Think about it. That's 4. 12 plus 20, 24. So 24, it's equals to I3 plus I4. The I4 is equals to 2I3 in the same direction. So I4 should be positive or negative. This one also have to be positive or negative if they're in the same direction. So it cannot be different at all. So if they are both negative, that makes no sense though. Okay, if they're in the same direction, means I think both are positive. So they should be should be 12, because 12 now if it's 12 and I put it here and it's twice 12, it's 24, that's 0. What if I try with 12? 12 plus 12 it's a bunch of 12 that shouldn't be mixed. That's not mixed. What about negative 12? Negative 12 and negative 24. They are both negative. So we gotta, that's 24. That is 24 plus I3. If we have 2 I3, how the hell can I? Okay, that's 3 I3. Okay, yeah, no. Okay, we got 3 I3. It's equal to negative 24. That means that I3 it's equal to negative 8. That means that I4 it's equals to negative 8 times 2. That's, I don't know if it's negative 16 or 16 positive. No, it has to be negative 16. I'm fucking dumbass. Okay, now everything has to make sense now. If I put 12 plus negative 8 plus another negative 8 plus negative 16 plus 20 should be equal to 0. Let's try this. So let's see, that's negative. Okay, 12 minus 8, that's 4. Minus 8. That's negative 4. Minus 16 is negative 20. Plus 20 is 0. Nice.
In currents. So first, let's write an equation. This is into 4, and 3i24 divided by 3, which is negative. Calculate I4 is simply going to be 2 times -8, which is -C.
That's crazy. Oh yeah. Take a picture for now. Wonderful woman. Still not crying. This shit was so fucking simple.
Now let's compare the total current that flows in the circuit and the total current that flows out of the circuit.
Okay. So we got one.
cuenta que eres realmente guapo. I've been trying to escape the apple.
In this video, we're going to go over Kirchhoff's voltage law, abbreviated KVL. Now, his law states that if you have a closed circuit, the voltages around that circuit must add up to 0. Now, some voltages are positive and others have a negative value. So you need to determine which one are positive and which ones will be negative. Now, let's say if we have a resistor, and let's say this is at 20 volts and this is at 10 volts. You know that current naturally flows from the direction of high potential to low potential in a resistor. So it flows from positive to negative. Now, a resistor consumes energy, and anytime the current flows from a high electric potential to a low electric potential, the energy of the charges that are flowing in that circuit is actually being reduced. Energy is being transferred from the charges to the resistor. So therefore, because the resistor decreases the energy of the charges, we're going to assign a negative voltage to it because it reduced the energy per unit charge. And that's what a volt is. 1 volt is 1 joule per coulomb. So voltage is basically the energy change per unit charge, which is basically per 1 coulomb. Now a battery does something different. In a battery, current can flow from low potential to high potential. So this could be 0 volts and this could be 12. And when you see this, whenever the current is flowing from a low potential to a high potential, that means that the energy of the charges is increasing. And so this is going to create a positive voltage because the battery is transferring energy to the charges. And so it increases the voltage of the charges, but a resistor will decrease the voltage of the charges. Now let's see if you remember. So let's say if we have a resistor and a current is flowing in that direction. Will we assign a positive voltage or a negative voltage to the resistor?
Negative.
So keep this in mind, a resistor always creates a voltage drop. It always consumes energy from the charges. So always assign a negative V for resistor. Now what if we have a battery that's listed this way, and there's a current flowing in this direction.
Positive.
This battery, is it increasing the energy of the charges or is it decreasing the energy of the charges? And compare it to this situation. So what if we reverse the polarity? And let's say the current is still flowing in the same direction. So which
Okay. I'm gonna guess to positive.
one should we assign a positive voltage and which one should we assign a negative voltage. Now keep this in mind. Anytime the current flows from, let me put that in blue, a high potential to a low potential, the energy of the charges is being reduced. So it's going to be a negative voltage. Now anytime it flows in the opposite direction, that is from a low potential to a high potential, then the voltage is increasing. The energy of the charges is increasing.
This one's a battery though. So if you're going from a positive to a negative in a battery, negative to a positive, that's positive. So this one's positive for sure. This one supposedly have to be negative. You only give me two options, but in my opinion, I think still positive. Because it's like trying to go that way.
So looking at this diagram, the current is flowing from positive to negative. So it's going from a high potential to a low potential. So this battery reduces the energy of the charges. Now for this one, it's
Okay, so I was wrong. But it is what it is. So this one's negative. And the other hand, if it's vice versa, positive voltage.
it's going from low potential to a high potential. So it's increasing the energy of the charges. So we should assign a positive V to this value and a negative V to this battery. Now let's work on some practice problems. So let's say if we have a battery and it's connected to 4 resistors in the circuit. This is the positive terminal and this is the negative terminal. And let's say it's a 12-volt battery. And this is going to be 8 ohms, 10 ohms, and 12 ohms. So this is R1, R2, R3. So write an expression that highlights Kirchhoff's voltage law. Show that the sum of the voltages around the circuit must add to 0. Now the current is going to leave the positive terminal of the battery, so it's going to be flowing in this direction. So as it flows through R1, the voltage will decrease. But the battery, notice that the current flows from the negative terminal to the positive terminal of the battery. So the battery supplies the energy to the circuit. So I'm going to put positive VB for the voltage of the battery.
Okay. So every time you're going from positive to negative, it's negative. But if you're going to negative to positive, it's positive, of course, right? Because it's, yeah, that makes sense. So that means if you're going from positive to negative, the voltage is gonna be negative.
And then negative V1, that's the voltage drop across R1. And R2 also creates a voltage drop. And R3
Because these are resistors. All of these are resistors. So yeah.
will also create a voltage drop. And based on Kirchhoff's voltage law, the sum of all the voltages in a circuit must add up to 0.
So that means A plus. All of these are positive though.
Now let's use that equation to calculate the current in a circuit. So the voltage of the battery is 12 volts. Now we know that V is equal to IR. And so the current is the same in a circuit because there's only one path for the current to flow. And so 12 volts in a circuit. So the voltage of the battery is 12 volts. Now we know that V.
Ah, me valió roña. So we know the voltage of the battery is 12 volts.
E is equal to IR. And so the current is the same in a circuit because there's only one path for the current to flow. And so what we have is a series circuit. So V1 is going to be I times R1. And R1 is 8 ohms. So we can say that V1 is 8 times I. V2 is I times R2 or I times.
B2 is down is okay, times R2, yeah. So 10 minus 12 I. Yeah. Equals to 0.
Times 10 is like terms. Negative 8 minus 10, that's negative 18, minus 12, that's negative 30.
Negative 18.
So this is going to be negative 30i. Now let's move this to that side. So we have 12v is equal to 30i. And then let's divide both sides by 30. So the current that flows
Again, what the fuck? Okay. Oh yay. How can I make this look decent? Oh, that's a crazy angle. I don't know if I like that angle. No, it's a fucking dumb. Okay. Okay. Focus. So we got 12b minus 8i. So we got b and we got I. So that means that negative 18 plus negative 12, that's negative 30. So we got 12b minus 30i equal to 0. And then we got 12b equals to 30i. And then we got 12b equals to I. 12b divided by 30 equals to I. So we got $12b divided by 30 equals to I. That means that 2 point something, it's I. If we do a triangle where B here, I'm gonna do that again. We got a triangle that where B here, and we're looking for I, and I should be equals to B over R. B over R. Do we got anything? Oh, we got B, and B is 12 volts divided by so it means 2 point, I'm gonna guess, what's 6 in 30? That's 1/5, that's 2. So it means 2.2. 12 divided by 30.4. Okay. Okay, yeah. So I equals to 0.4 current. So if this makes sense, that means that voltage is equals to I point 4 times resistance, that is 30, because 8 times, so we have the resistance, that's 8, 10, that's 30, yeah. So yeah, 0.4. Yeah.
In this circuit. Now let's say the electric potential at this point is 0 volts. Let's calculate the electric potential at these points. So what is the electric potential at point A, B, and C? So notice that the potential difference of the battery is 12 volts. And so since this is a positive sign, A has to be higher than this point. So at point A, the voltage is, or the potential is 12 volts. Now what is the potential at point B?
What is the potential at point B?
So we need to calculate the voltage drop across R1. So we can use V is equal to I1. So we have the current, which is 0.4 amps, and let's multiply by R1, which is 8. So 0.4 times 8 is 3.2. So the voltage is going to drop by 3.2. So if we take 12 volts and subtract it by 3.2, this will give us a potential of 8.8 volts at this point.
How the hell do you got 0.8? That's minus 3.2, but how the hell do you got 3.2? Point four? What's 0.4? So it's literally 4. So it's 8.8 minus 4, 4.8. Is it that? 4.4?
Here's what the potential, now that there's the volts R1, then subtract that by 8.8. So we could start with this equation. It's a negative minus 0.4, and R2 is 10. So if you type in 8.8 to 4, now if you take the current,
So
which is
4.8
0.4 amps,
4.8 in both the freaking drop in voltage. And the next one it's 0.4 times 12 means if we got the 10, it's 0.10, so should be 5. Five and 2. So it should be
and multiply by across R3. And so that's how you can solve potential values, which is 12 ohms. You should get the difference between these two values. So 0.4 times 12 is 4.8, and that's the potential difference across R3. And so that's how you can solve this particular circuit using KVL,
okay,
Kirchhoff's.
that makes sense because it's have to be equal to 0. So yeah, 12 times 0.4 is 4.8. 4.8 plus 1.8 is 9.4 plus the other 20%.
Voltage law.
0.6.
Now let's work on another example.
Need to go to B. Okay. Be right back. Tu castigado y sin comer, no importa. Chup, chup, si tú chup, chup, me miras, yo me convierto en un rey azul. Me hice una promesa hace unos días para tocar tu mano y no me... Chup, chup, si tú chup, chup, me miras, yo me convierto en un rey azul.
Let's say if we have this circuit, this is going to be a 50 ohm resistor, which we'll call R1, and R2 is a 30 ohm resistor. So here we have a 12 volt battery, and here we have an 8 volt battery. Go ahead and use Kirchhoff's voltage law to calculate the current in this. So here we have a 12 volt battery, and here we have an 8 volt battery. Go ahead and use Kirchhoff's voltage law. Law instead of battery because so the current flows from voltage end of terminal. So therefore, the battery so that's 12 30I. Negative will give us. So now that we have the current flowing in a circuit, let's calculate the potential at every point. So let's say this is point A, B, C, and D. And let's say that the potential at point A is 0 volts. Calculate the electric potential at every other point. Now we can see that the voltage across the battery is 12, and the plus side indicates that the top side is higher than the bottom side. So the potential at point B has to be 12 volts. Now the resistor, R1, is going to drop the voltage. To calculate the voltage drop, it's simply I times R1. So the current is 0.25 amps, is 12.5. You could say that the voltage drop is I times R1, but with a negative sign, because it decreases the voltage. And VC, now you could set it up the way we did in the last problem. And I, so 12.D, so 50 ohms. So 12 minus 0.25 times 50 at point C. Side, which means that this side is going to be 8 volts higher than that side. 8 volts to it, this will give us 7.5. So that's the potential at point D. Now let's confirm that A is indeed 0. So let's use this equation. The voltage drop across R2 is going to be I times R2. And so VA minus VD, because we're going from D to A, that's equal to this value. So VA is going to be VD minus IR2. So VD is 7.5, the current is 0.25, and R2 is 30. So if you type in 7.5 minus 0.25 times 30, this will give you 0, the potential at point A. And so it goes to show that Kirchhoff's voltage law does work. The sum of all the voltages in a closed circuit will always add up to 0. Let's try another example, but one with a lot more stuff in it. Now this video is for so this is going to be a 50 volt battery. Here are the positive terminals, and here are the negative terminals. This is going to be 30 ohms, we'll call it R1, and then this is going to be 70 ohms, which we'll call R2. And this is going to be a 10 volt battery, and also this is going to be a 20 volt battery. So first, we need to determine the direction of the current.
So we got this over here, we got this. So we got 3 batteries here, trolling. We got 50 volts, and this one is R1. That's 70 current, not 70 volts. Current, resistor. This one is 30 resistors. This one's R1 too. No. And this one's 20 volts. And this one, it's only 10 volts. Okay. So let's think about this. So let's first get the current. And the current, it's equals to 70 70 divided by 80 divided by 100. So that's 0.2. So now that we have 0.2, we know that from here to here it's 50 volts. So that means if we have a 30 resistor, 30 amperes resistors, oh no, only if it's ampere. And if we multiply that by 0.2, so that means if we divide that by 5, so that means 6. So use the calculator. It has to be 6. 38 times 0.2. It's 6. So that means over here it's gonna be 44. And I'm doing something wrong. I don't know what, but I'm doing something wrong. But that means that this one has to be, the one at the bottom has to be negative 24. Yeah, it can be negative. So the way negative 24. That makes sense. And over here .2 of 70, that's 70 divided by 5. That means that it's like 20. So that means that it's like 4. So it's 14. So it's 70 times 0.2 has to be 14. Yeah, 14. So it means tell me 10 volts. I don't know.
So let's call this battery 1 is position.
Let's first get the 0.2.
However, 50 current is going to be in this direction. A positive 50. Now the current is flowing in a battery will but here it flows from low to high, so that's a positive.
That changed everything. Again, how the hell do you select the from positive? And
Will going to be in this greater than the sum total of 10 and 20. So therefore, the current is going to be in this. So those two batteries oppose each other. And this battery wants to generate a counterclockwise current. So these two batteries are in support with each other, and they're against this one. However, 50 is greater than the sum total of 10 and 20. So therefore, the current is going to be in this direction. Now let's go ahead and calculate the current. So this battery will create a positive battery drop with a high circuit.
just because this one's bigger and these ones are going because we're sure, okay, this one's positive, so all of this is trying to go in the same direction besides the one that's big. That's why we're subtracting these two guys. So that means that our voltage is not 80, it's 20. So we cross this. I equals to 20 divided by, and the resistor, I believe it's use something that doesn't really matter that much. So it should be 100, right? Okay, 100. So I should let us with 0.8, 0.8. Wait, what? So fucking dumb. Okay, no, it is 0.2. So I was doing it right.
And now it's 2 amps. Let's call this point A. Let's calculate,
No,
because that drop a current of point. So if the less, it's going to be 40. Now this battery
okay.
will reduce the energy of the circuit by 20 joules per coulomb, or by 20 volts. So the potential at D is going to be 44 minus 20, which is 24 volts. Now this battery also,
Okay, so this one's positive because it's because this guy's negative, and now so this battery throw the thing another 10. So that means this one is 14. So once we got here, it's 14. Okay, yeah. 14 minus 14 minus 14, 0. Perfect.
reduce it, just going to be calculate at R2. It's negative, will bring us back to 0. So now you know how to calculate the electric potential at every point in a circuit. The key to understanding how to solve these types of problems is to know which device will increase the energy of the circuit and which device will decrease the energy of the circuit. So resistors always consume energy. So they will always decrease the energy of the circuit. So therefore, they will always have a voltage drop. So you should always apply a negative V value to it. Now a battery can either increase or decrease the energy of the circuit. And for this, you need to look at the direction of the current. So if the current is flowing from a low potential to a high potential, then the battery is increasing the energy of the circuit. So in that case, we need to apply a positive voltage to this battery because it's adding voltage to the circuit. Now, if the current is flowing from a high voltage or high potential to a low potential, then this battery is reducing the energy of the circuit. And so we need to apply a negative voltage to it. So hopefully you understand that concept, and it's going to help you to solve more complicated problems than the ones that we covered in this video. This is simply a basic introduction.
Okay. I think I understand.
In this video, we're going to talk about, so what is Ohm's law? Ohm's law describes the relationship between voltage, current, and resistance. Perhaps you've seen this equation. V is equal to I times R. V stands for voltage, I stands for the current, R is resistance. Voltage is measured in the units volts. Let's calculate the current in such a circuit. Theory flow, it varies. The voltage at each of the cylinders is the same.
So we're looking for the current. And we have R1, R2, and R3. So we have all the resistor and we have the voltage. So it's literally I divided by V over R. So that means 12 divided by what is this? 10, 13, 12 divided by 13.
But in a series circuit, the current flowing in resistors that are connected in series will be the same. And in this case, use F. Now let's do the same for R2. So let's R2. 12 by 4, which will give us a current of 3 amps. Now to calculate I3, it's going to be 12 decrease that as you do if we tell circuit in this current, which we plug in amps. We have Kirchhoff's current law.
I'm watching all of this. I don't care.
In this video, we're going to talk about Ohm's law. So what is Ohm's law? Ohm's law describes the relationship between voltage, current, and resistance. Perhaps you've seen this equation. V is equal to I times R. V stands for voltage, I stands for the current, R is resistance. Voltage is measured in the units volts. I, which represents the current, is measured in amps. And R, the resistance, is measured in ohms. Now, you need to know that as the voltage in a circuit increases, it's measured in amps. And R, the resistance, is measured in ohms. Now, you need to know that as the voltage in a circuit increases, the current will increase, provided that the resistance stays the same. If the resistance goes up, the current will go down if the voltage is held constant. So voltage and current, they're proportional to each other, and resistance and current, they're inversely related to each other. Now let's work on a practice problem. Let's say if we have a 12-volt battery connected across a 4-ohm resistor. What is the current flowing in this circuit?
Where's the current? No, these ones. The current, it's I equals 12 divided by 4. So it's 4. Isn't it?
Conventional current flows from the positive terminal of the battery to the negative terminal of the battery. This is the opposite direction to electron flow. So to find the current in this circuit, we can use Ohm's law. V is equal to IR. So the voltage is 12. We're looking for the current. The resistance is 4. So we need to solve for the variable I. Let's divide both sides by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3, so the current is going to be 3 amps.
3, you're right. 3, I'm so fucking.
So this. Let's say this is R1. R2 and R3, and it's connected across a 60-volt battery. Now let's say that R1 has a value of 3 ohms, and R2 is 4 ohms, and R3 is 5 ohms. So what is the current flowing in a circuit?
Okay, now in this case, because they're going in the same direction, all of them, I should be should be 12, should be 60 divided by 12. That gives us 5. No. That gives us 0.2. No, it's perfect. So it gives us 5 for the current.
In order to so we could use the formula V is equal to IR. So V is 60. What is the current in that resistor? So what we need to find is the current across each resistor. What is the voltage drop across the first resistor?
The first resistor, the voltage drop, it's negative 15.
Now, because it's only one half of the current to flow, use the current that flows through the first resistor. That's R1. R1 is different. R1 is going to be 3. So it's
Yeah, okay, it's going positive, yeah, my bad. 5A times 3 B equal 15. Okay, so 15. So then after that has to go all the way onto 5 should be 5, so that way it goes to 0 once it gets here. Because here should be 0. So that means that the second one is 4 times 5, that is 20. Minus the 15, it's 5. So do I have, okay, I guess we're looking for P1 there. So P2 equals to 5a times 4, that's equal to 20, and for R2 it should be 20 minus the R1, that's 15, so it's equal to 5. I think so.
So it's 5 times the cross iron, but this time the resistance is 4 ohms. So 5 times V3 is equal to I3.
No.
Now across R3, it's going to be V3 is equal to I3 times R3. So I3 is going to be the same as I2 and I1, so that's 5 amps. R3 is 5, so 5 times 5 is 25. So notice that
It's 20, it's only 20. $20, 25, that's 45. Plus 15 is 60.
if you add up 15 plus 20 plus 25, it gives you 60. And so the voltage of the battery is equal to the sum of all of the voltage drops across those resistors. And there's something called Kirchhoff's voltage law, which basically states that as you go around a circuit in a loop, the total voltage will be 0. And it makes sense because the battery, it increases the energy of the circuit because it supplies energy to the circuit, so it increases it by 60. The resistors consume energy from the circuit, so they decrease it, thus they have a negative value. So if you add up positive 60 with negative 15, negative 20, and negative 25, you get 0. Because the energy that flows into a circuit must equal the energy that comes out of the circuit. Thus, Kirchhoff's voltage law. It always applies whenever you have a closed loop. So the sum of all the voltages in a closed loop will always add up to 0. Now what's going to happen if we connect 3 resistors in a parallel circuit? Let's calculate the current in such a circuit. In a series circuit, the current flowing through the resistors that are connected in series is the same, because the current only has one path in which it can flow. In a parallel circuit, the current has multiple paths, and so it can vary. However, notice that whenever resistors are connected in parallel, the voltage across those resistors is the same. So let's say if we have, in this case, a 12-volt battery. Each resistor is connected across that 12-volt battery. And so all of them have 12 volts across their terminals. So let's call this R1, R2, and R3. And so let's say that R1 has a value of 3 ohms, and R2 is going to be 4 ohms, and R3 is going to be 6 ohms. What is the current flowing through each resistor? So we can use this formula. V1 is equal to I1 times R1. So remember, in a parallel circuit, the voltage across the resistors connected in parallel is the same. But in a series circuit, the current flowing in resistors that are connected in series will be the same.
Yeah, B1 equals, yeah, that's just beer.
In this case, V1 is 12, because we have 12 volts connected across R1. And to find the current flowing through this resistor, we need to use that formula. R1 is 3, so the current is going to be 12 divided by 3. So we have a current of 4.
So you have to do for each one of these. What do you mean divided? Times 3. So that means 4. So for B2, that means 12 equals to I2 times 4, so that means 3. And that means that B3 equals to 12, and means I3 times 6, so that means B3 equals to 2.
Amps flowing through R1. Now let's do this. So it's that as the resistance.
Amps, what the hell? So that means that's the
increases, the current decreases. And it has resistance, the current will increase. Or in a series circuit too. You can see that relationship there as well. That's leaving about the sum of the individual currents. So it's
So I mean the I equals for I total equals to 4 plus 3 plus 2. So that means I total is equals to 9. 9. So that means this current is going to 9 volts.
It's going to be 4 plus 3 right here. Let's use something called Kirchhoff's current law. We saw in the last example that Kirchhoff's voltage law, which basically states that the sum of all the voltages around the loop
So I mean once it gets here it has to be 0 in my opinion, so it has to be
the loop adds up to 0. Well, Kirchhoff's current law is very similar. The current that enters the junction is equal to the current that leaves the junction. Now let's draw a picture. So we have 9 amps of current flowing to this point, and we have 4 amps that's leaving it. Now the current that is flowing to a junction must equal the total current that is leaving a junction. So we have to have current leaving in this direction, and it has to be 5 amps because 5 plus 4 is 9. So we have a total of 9 amps of current that enters this junction, and 9 amps of current that leaves it. And so that's the basic idea behind Kirchhoff's current law. So we have 5 amps flowing to the right in this direction. Now out of those 5 amps, 3 amps is going this way. So that means the other 2 amps flows in this direction. And you can see how it's like a river splitting off into 3 directions. So in this section, we still have 2 amps of current that's traveling here. And then when it joins up with a 3 amp current, 3 and 2 will add up to 5. And so we have 5 amps flowing in this region. And then the 5 and 4 will get together. And so we're going to have a total of 9 amps of current flowing in this region. And so as you can see, the current that's going this way is going to be the same as this current here, 9 amps. And so hopefully this all makes sense. And so I want to give you a basic idea of how to use Ohm's law in a simple circuit, in a series circuit, and also in a parallel circuit. So that's it for this video. Hopefully you found it to be helpful and it gave you a good understanding of Kirchhoff.
okay. take a little break.